Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast, and of course, I'm your host, the white collar goon, the creative and artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics. And before I get started, I want to make sure: have you had a meal today? Have you eaten like anything? Okay, so like this is okay. Like I would want you to have something unless you're fasting right now, but no, I'm drinking water and I've had my lunch already. So my tummy actually feels like it's like a bit pudgy, and I've had oatmeal and I had some like Dave's Killer Bread. I mean, that bread is popping. Yeah, and the oatmeal was like filled with everything, like underneath the kitchen or over kitchen sink. It was like the full pantry was in there. It's like walnuts, it's raisins, it's dried cranberries that are like sweet raisins. There's cinnamon. There's coconut oil. There's almond milk in there. There's granola in there. And I ran out of granola last night. There's blueberries in there. There's cut up banana in there. Like there's so much in there. So much in there. But it was good. It was good. It was filling, as you can see. So my tummy is feeling a bit pudgy, and if you see me in the street, you're probably gonna be like, "Yo, like, what are you doing looking like a slouch?" So I'm working on that. I mean, I still do my runs in the morning along with of course, my morning rituals and devotions, which could be classified as bhakti yoga, which is the devotional yoga. And those are more of the chants. Those are more of the chanting of mantras. But before I get into, well, not saying before I get into that, that's not what this conversation is about. But shout out to anybody who has devotions or a devotional practice every day that is a part of their, system of sequence, system of synthesis, their SOS, right? I think it's good for you because, you might operate in that way. There are some people who will go to, let's say, church, so to speak, and they might receive the Holy Spirit, or they might receive Jesus, or they might receive their how do I describe this? Yeah, the Spirit in a different way than another person, so to speak. So somebody might receive it through the spoken word, which is by the minister, the pastor, the bishop, or whoever is the officiator or the narrator or the somebody who's conveying that message. Some people might receive it through children's church or Sunday school, having more of a lesson or a experiential or hands-on approach, or more of a group setting, more of an informal setting approach to breaking down the Bible and breaking down these messages, right? So it's not necessarily just me sitting down in some structured setting and I'm just listening to somebody. Now, like in a classroom setting, I can provide you with, or I can ask questions. I can listen to what other people have to say. Some people might receive the Spirit in the musical sense, right? So through the choir, or through, yeah, the minister of music, they are able to receive that Spirit in that way. So I mean, that's a roundabout way of saying, like, we all think differently, we all operate differently, and because we think and operate differently, we should embrace that because that's our uniqueness and our peculiar facets to our life are in turn what makes us not only special, but that makes us the individual to be, self-actualized. Like once we become self-actualized, those unique aspects, those idiosyncrasies, those peculiarities, those nuance, our nuanced behaviors become our superpowers, right? So find out what way you learn best. If you're in school and you're like, okay, like I'm a type of person where I need to like be hands on with my work, then you need to like find a way that you can synthesize or synchronize what you're getting from the classroom setting, which is going to be very structured and it's going to be top down type of information. But you need to find a way that you can express it in the way, or interpret it or modify it in a way that you learn best, right? So if you're at church, or if you're in the job, or you're in a relationship, figure out what way is best for you to be at your optimal level of receiving it and giving it back, right? Of integrating it, and then also, like, applying it, implementing it, like all of these types of things. Like, figure out, because there are going to be some people who are like, oh, like, I can just read a book and figure it out. Some people are going to be like, oh, I need to write it down and figure it out. Some people are like, I need to go outside and figure it out. Some people can just sit down and listen to it and they got it. But like, those are four different types of people, right? And you shouldn't want to be one way or the other. You need to figure out who you are, what's your specialty, and that's how you operate, and that's how you can move forward into your path or your journey of greatness, and your journey of self-actualizing, self-realizing, self-mastery, just knowing thyself. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a continuous, constant journey, but it's going to be a continuous and constant journey of improvement. That's you're going to be improving yourself day by day. If that's what you're about, you're going to be you're going to fall in love with your advancement. You're going to fall in love with bettering yourself. You're going to love the fact that your hard work will eventually pay dividends, but you're not looking for the fruits of your labor. You're not looking for any recognition from an outside source. You're not looking for somebody else to pat you on the back and tell you some shit that you already know. That's not what you're doing it for. Okay, like, it's really gonna come because you yourself will see, like, I'm starting to get the hang of this. Wow, I'm starting to understand that I'm an individual who lives by these universal principles, and these universal principles are virtuous principles, and those same principles are what the white collar goon talks about when he talks about the angel markets or the spiritual markets. And I mean, not living just strictly for the political, and the political is physical. The physical is the impermanent, like, oh, like, I have a job, or I have this car, or I have this piece of jewelry, or I have money. Like, that type of shit comes and goes, for sure. Beauty fades, for sure. Your job will be here today and be gone tomorrow. Your shorty will be here today and she might be fucking somebody else tomorrow. Like, that's how that goes. Like, but if you're focusing on the spiritual markets, the angel markets, like, then you're understanding, like, wow, I can invest in scale, like aggregate, like an aggregate sense of growth. Like, I can scale, like, appreciation. I can scale my altruism, my benevolence, my being, my boldness, in selfless work, selfless service. My virtues are now kindness, moderation. Being moderate, what does that even mean? Meaning, like, I'm not throwing myself into mourning and sadness because something doesn't go my way, nor am I throwing myself into, ecstasy and euphoria just because something did go my way. Like, I'm sitting here like, homie, whatever the case may be, good or bad, I'm gonna be straight, because I'm I'm aligned. I'm aligned internally, like, spiritually, psychologically, cognitively, emotionally, socially. Like, I've asked the Lord to expand me in every sense of the word spiritually. Come on, like, I'm not teetering on these, on this spectrum, and I'm able to, like, be a master of my mind and be able to direct my mind. And once you can focus and once you master the mind, I'm not a master right now. I'm still, like, I'm on the bottom sense. I'm on the bottom rung of that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But, like, I'm so excited. I'm so keen. I'm so turned up because I already know, like, every day, like, that's another day I get to test myself and evaluate myself. And measure like my growth and augment certain things and tweak certain things and get back at it and come on. All right. So figure that out. Like the path of self-realization is going to be a beautiful path. It's going to be a wonderful path, right? Like you're going to find things out about yourself that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I did not know that I was that, like, fascinating. I didn't know that I would. And it's not going to be you that's fascinating. It's going to be the fact that you've asked God to use you as an instrument. And once you have God using you as an instrument, it's like, homegirl, like, homegirl, like, you're on. Homie, like, you're on, brother. Like, it's on and it's popping for sure. And your virtues will change, your principles will change, and once those change, your thought process and your spirit will change, and your body will change, and the things that you do, the things that you desire will become modified. Not to say that you still don't like the fact that, like, homegirl is really fit and she's walking by, or you might see some guy that's handsome and he's walking by. It's not the fact that you don't like cheeseburgers anymore, or you don't like to have, the glass of vino that you got from, the chateau from, Napa Valley or some shit. Like, that's not the fact that that's not going to change, and or they might, but and they might for sure. Like, like as you start to improve your life, or you start to go a certain path within your life, the things of your past, the desires of your past, the your your senses, in which normally would control 99.9% of us. We are controlled by our senses and our desires. But once you start to focus on moderation and expanding yourself and expanding your spectrum of consciousness, and being more attuned spiritually, socially, psychologically, cognitively, emotionally, to the way God wants you, or the universe wants you, or nature wants you to move, like, homegirl, like, that those desires are gonna take a back seat to you. Like, that ego takes a back seat. The pride takes the back seat. Like, the pride is out the window. The ego is somewhere in the trunk. Those desires that used to be in the front of your chariot, those horses used to just take you here and there. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Let me eat this full pint of ice cream. That was your desires of your past. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling aroused. Let me put myself into as many girls as I can. Like, that was your desires in the middle, like right there. Oh my gosh, I am upset with this person because they called me out of my name, or they didn't respect me, or they didn't give me the acknowledgement that I wanted. So now I'm gonna kirk out on this motherfucker. Like, that was your desire. Like, you were being pulled in so many ways on a constant, consistent basis, and you thought that was normal just because homie next door, your neighbor, or your brother, or your sister, or the people that you knew from your school, your grade school, that's how they act, or that's how they acted. But, like, that's not you, right? Because they didn't ask God for a transformation, a spiritual transformation, an emotional, social, cognitive, mental, psychological transformation. They didn't ask God to take hold of their vessel and expand it physically, and to use them as an instrument so they can be the conductor of the universe. They didn't ask God for that. You did, though. You didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might look at homegirl and look at homie and be like, why are they, like, seemingly happy? They seem to be content. Homegirl, happiness is inside of you. But the reason why you're turned up and you're happy, or it doesn't, or it's not in the same vein as they are, whoever they are to be, like, whoever that is to you, it's because you're activating God that's within inside of you. That's within you. Like, once God is moving and permeating through your being, a lot of those things from the past, a lot of those things from the past, or a lot of things that you wanted in the future, will will they will shift. They will shift in a drastic way, in a dramatic way, in a visceral way, in a tangible way. So, like, be prepared for that, sister. be prepared for like some of your homegirls are gonna start looking at you sideways and be like, damn, I thought I knew you, but I didn't know you were gonna be like this. Or you're, somebody who you used to date in the past might pull up on you, be like, yo, I thought I knew you back in the day because like we we got to really know each other pretty well. Like, but I didn't know you were gonna like turn out to be like this turned up. Like, you're gonna even have family members that aren't gonna understand it. Be like, yo, what is up with you? You're spending time underneath the moonlight, and you're saying these things, and you're meditating, and you're praying, and you're walking out, and you're opening yourself up to the sun, and you're doing various mantras and sun salutations and Surya namaskaras, and you got so much going on, and you're writing in your notebook, and you got so many notes, and you're reading all the time, and you're talking to yourself. Like, people aren't gonna understand, homegirl. People aren't gonna understand until you cross over, and you cross over and not because you went somewhere else. I mean, physically you will be, passion, purpose, personality, positioning, pivot. Like, I mean, you're gonna pivot. That, like, once you position yourself to receive that universal Christ consciousness, it's gonna flow through you, and you're gonna take a pivot. And those people, those family members, those close colleagues, whatever you want to call them, acquaintances, those people are going to look at you and be like, yo, what did you do? Because you're glowed the fuck up right now, homegirl. Like, not because you did some skin thing. It's like, no, that prana energy is flowing through you, homegirl. Like, I can't get near you. You opened up the door to this room and I felt your presence, homegirl. You walked into this building, homegirl, and sirens were going off. Like, the temperature changed, homegirl. Like, that was because of you. Are you ready for those powers? Are you ready to activate those powers? Are you ready to show your face? Namaste. Namaskar. Good luck, God bless, and Godspeed. You're already on your journey.